Akashwani presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Sunil Verma. The headlines. NASA astronauts Sunita Williams and fellow Crew 9 members return to Earth after being stuck for 9 months in space. Russian President Vladimir Putin agrees for temporary halt for attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure after talks with President Donald Trump. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel has resumed combat in Gaza with full force. Minister of Railways Ashwini Vaishnaw reaffirms government's commitment to make Indian Railways modern and efficient transport system. And Khelo India Para Games 2025 launches its anthem, mascot and logo. Games to begin tomorrow. Astronauts Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore of NASA have returned to Earth early this morning aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft. Their SpaceX capsule parachuted into the Gulf of Mexico. Splashdown occurred off the coast of Tallahassee in the Florida Panhandle, bringing to an end the 9-month ordeal of the two astronauts.
And splashdown, Crew 9 back on Earth.
And SpaceX Freedom, splashdown, good main release.
Copy, splashdown. Nick, Alex, Butch, Sunny, on behalf of SpaceX, welcome home.
With this, the astronauts concluded their trip with SpaceX Crew 9, a routine International Space Station ISS staff rotation mission alongside NASA's Nick Hague and Russian cosmonaut Alexander Gorbunov. Wilmore and Williams were on the International Space Station since June of last year, following the maiden crewed mission of the Boeing Starliner spacecraft, which encountered technical issues that rendered it unsuitable for their return journey. Minister of State for Science and Technology Jitendra Singh termed Sunita Williams' return as a moment of glory. In a social media post, he said that the whole world comes together to celebrate the safe return of the illustrious daughter of India. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh also congratulated NASA's Crew 9, including India's Sunita Williams, on their safe return to Earth. In a social media post, the Defence Minister said the crew comprising of India's daughter, Sunita Williams, and other astronauts have rewritten the history of human endurance and perseverance in space. Russian President Vladimir Putin has agreed to temporarily halt attacks on energy and infrastructure targets in Ukraine after a lengthy telephone call with US President Donald Trump yesterday. The White House and Kremlin both have confirmed this. The White House said the highly anticipated phone call between the two presidents began as the Trump administration looks to persuade the Russian leader to sign off on a 30-day ceasefire proposal with Ukraine as a possible pathway to end the war. The two leaders also discussed bilateral relations and the situation in West Asia. However, the plan agreed by them is yet to be affirmed by the Ukraine. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has confirmed resuming combat in full force against Hamas in the Gaza Strip. His comments came after the launch of massive airstrikes that killed more than 400 Palestinians in Gaza. He called the airstrikes just the beginning and said that fighting in the enclave had resumed with full force. In a video statement on national television, he warned that negotiations will continue only under fire. Earlier yesterday, Mr. Netanyahu said he ordered the strikes because of a lack of progress in talks to extend the truce. Officials said the operation was open-ended and was expected to expand.
Hamas is responsible for this war. Hamas refused offer after offer to release our hostages. While Israel accepted the offer of President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, Hamas flatly refused to do so. This is why I authorized yesterday the renewal of military action against Hamas.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh held a meeting with his Netherlands counterpart, Ruben Brekelmans, in New Delhi. The two leaders discussed enhancing bilateral cooperation in areas such as defence, security, information exchange, the Indo-Pacific, and new and emerging technologies. They also explored possibilities for collaboration in shipbuilding, equipment, and the space sector, leveraging the complementarities in skills, technology, and scale between the two countries. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar met British NSA Jonathan Powell and exchanged views on bilateral, regional and global security issues. Dr. Jaishankar also had a bilateral meeting with a host of his counterparts from various countries, including Nepal, Thailand, Luxembourg, Latvia, and the Maldives, among others. The minister shared the updates on his meetings in a series of posts on X. Among his other engagements, Dr. Jaishankar also met Rafael Mariano Grossi, Director General of International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA. Dr. Jaishankar, in separate posts, said that he met his Nepalese counterpart Arzu Rana Dyoba and discussed various facets of bilateral cooperation. The three-day Raisina Dialogue, India's premier conference on geopolitics and geoeconomics, began in the national capital on Monday. Congress leader Dr. Shashi Tharoor has admitted that he was wrong to oppose India's stance on the Russia-Ukraine war. Speaking at the Raisina Dialogue in New Delhi yesterday, he said he was still wiping the egg off his face for criticizing India's neutral position in 2022. Dr. Tharoor had criticized India's stance when Russia attacked Ukraine and called for condemnation of the aggression. The Congress MP said the policy adopted by India following the outbreak of the conflict meant that the country actually had a prime minister who can hug both the president of Ukraine and the president in Moscow 2 weeks apart and be accepted in both places. Minister of State External Affairs, Kirtivardhan Singh, highlighted that the country has set ambitious targets to achieve net zero emissions by 2070. Speaking at the Raisina Dialogue on India's climate initiative, Mr. Singh said that the country is committed to achieving 50% of its total energy capacity from renewables by 2030. He said India is moving forward with a very clear roadmap for climate change, environmental protection, and a green future.
Under the visionary leadership of Prime Minister Modi, India is moving forward with a very clear roadmap for climate change, environmental protection, and a green future. We have set ambitious targets to achieve net zero emissions by 2070 and have also committed to achieving 50% of its total energy capacity from renewables by 2030. I'm happy to say that India was the first G20 country to meet its Paris commitments.
This is Akashwani giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our X handle at AIR News Alerts. And for details of stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in and download News on AIR app. Minister of Railways Ashwini Vaishnaw has reaffirmed the government's commitment to making Indian Railways a modern, efficient and environmentally sustainable transport system. He said Indian Railways is in good financial condition and the government is working to further improve it. Mr. Vaishnaw stated this while replying to the discussion in the Lok Sabha on the working of the Ministry of Railways yesterday. He also said Indian Railways has provided 5 lakh jobs in the last 10 years and the recruitment process is underway for over 1 lakh jobs.
जो 50-60 साल में नहीं हो पाया रिक्रूटमेंट के लिए एनुअल कैलेंडर वो 2024 में स्टार्ट हुआ। हर क्वार्टर में एक सिस्टमैटिक तरीके से किस किस कैटेगरी की वैकेंसीज निकलेंगी वो वैकेंसीज निकल रही है और बहुत ही स्मूथली एग्जाम हो रहा है। 10 वर्षों में 5 लाख से अधिक लोगों को रेलवे ने रोजगार दिया है और ऑन गोइंग 1 लाख लोगों का रिक्रूटमेंट का प्रोसेस चल रहा है।
The minister added that India has become a big exporter of railways. The minister said it is exporting metro coaches to Australia, railway coaches to the UK, Saudi Arabia and France, and operation equipment to Mexico, Spain, Germany and Italy.
आज हमारे देश से ऑस्ट्रेलिया को मेट्रो के कोचेस एक्सपोर्ट होने लगे। जो लोकोमोटिव्स और कोचेस के नीचे का जो मैकेनिकल स्ट्रक्चर होता है उसको बोगी बोलते हैं। कोच है ऊपर, नीचे बोगी, यानी उसका अंडर फ्रेम। यूनाइटेड किंगडम, सऊदी अरेबिया, फ्रांस, ऑस्ट्रेलिया इन सब देशों को होने लगे। पैसेंजर कोचेस मोजाम्बिक, बांग्लादेश, श्रीलंका। लोकोमोटिव्स जा रहे हैं अब मोजाम्बिक, सेनेगल, श्रीलंका, म्यांमार और बांग्लादेश।
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that the government is committed to bringing normalcy and prosperity in Manipur. Ms. Sitharaman said this while replying to a debate on the Manipur Appropriation Bill 2025 in Rajya Sabha. She said most states have a contingency fund that helps them meet emergent situations, but Manipur never had a contingency fund, and for this, government has allocated 500 crore rupees. She said violence in Manipur has adversely impacted economic activities in the state, but expressed confidence that it will recover swiftly.
Manipur as a state had never had contingency fund created for itself that helps them to meet with emergent situations. So we have created now contingency fund for Manipur with 500 crores being given to them.
The Enforcement Directorate ED has summoned Rashtriya Janata Dal President and former Bihar Chief Minister Lalu Prasad for questioning today in connection with Land for Jobs money laundering case. Mr. Prasad has been asked to appear and record his statement at Patna-based regional office of the Enforcement Directorate ED. Yesterday, former Chief Minister and his wife of Lalu Prasad, Rabri Devi, and their elder son, Tej Pratap Yadav, appeared before the investigation team of the Central Enforcement Agency. The interrogation continued for more than 3 hours in separate chambers with Rabri Devi and Tej Pratap Yadav. The situation of law and order in Nagpur, which witnessed violence, is now under control. District Police Commissioner Dr. Ravindra Singhal has said 5 cases have been registered and 50 people have been arrested so far in connection with the violent incidents that erupted on Monday night in the city. The Guardian Minister, Chandrasekhar Bawankule, held a meeting with officials and also inspected the violence-affected areas. The district administration is also assessing the damages caused to property of people in arson and stone pelting. Nagpur police also conducted a route march last night in sensitive areas to reassure residents about their safety and maintain harmony in the city. Khelo India Para Games 2025 has launched its anthem, mascot and logo in the presence of Minister for Youth Affairs and Sports, Dr. Mansukh Mandaviya, in New Delhi. The Para Games are going to be held from the 20th of this month till 27th of March in the national capital. Speaking on the occasion, the minister said that Khelo India initiative has given a remarkable platform to athletes who can participate, thereby elevating the country's reputation on the global stage.
खेलो इंडिया का एक ऐसा अम्ब्रेला बन चुका है जिसके अंडर में देश के यूथ, देश के एथलीट खेलते रहे, खिलते रहे, विकसते रहे, कंपटीशन में सफल होते रहे, देश और दुनिया में खेलों में देश का नाम आगे बढ़ाते रहे। ये पैरा गेम्स में खेलने वाले सभी खिलाड़ियों को सफलता के लिए, खेलने के लिए मैं शुभकामनाएं देता हूं।
The India Meteorological Department IMD has forecast a gradual rise in maximum temperatures about 2 to 3 degrees Celsius, likely over northwest India during the next 2 days, and no significant change thereafter. The maximum temperature is likely to hover around 32 degrees Celsius with the minimum temperature at around 16 degrees Celsius. And now, for a look at today's newspapers, it's over to Nina Arakal.
Thank you, Sunil. 2 major international stories dominate the front pages of today's newspapers. These are summed up by the headline in Hindustan Times: Israeli airstrikes kill over 400 in Gaza, shattering truce deal, and in the Tribune, won't hit Ukraine energy infra, Moscow agrees to 30-day Trump truce plan. Jaishankar slams UN for calling Kashmir invasion a dispute. Headlines The Statesman. The Election Commission has set the ball rolling on linking voter ID cards with Aadhaar, reports The Hindu. Gold and silver hit record high in the national capital. And finally, the Times of India quotes Union Health Minister J.P. Nadda as saying that 68 lakh cancer cases have been treated under Ayushman Bharat Health Insurance Scheme, 76% of them in rural areas. And with that, it's back to you, Sunil.
Thank you, Nina. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. NASA astronauts Sunita Williams and fellow Crew 9 members returned to Earth after being stuck for 9 months in space. Russian President Vladimir Putin agrees for temporary halt from attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure after talks with President Donald Trump. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel has resumed combat in Gaza with full force. Minister of Railways Ashwini Vaishnaw reaffirms government's commitment to make Indian Railways modern and efficient transport system. And Khelo India Para Games 2025 launches its anthem, mascot and logo games to begin tomorrow. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.gov.in and News on AIR app. And with that, we end this morning news. Have a nice day.